ghosts of Fort Mifflin, USA. On the banks of the Delaware River in Philadelphia stands Fort Mifflin, a centuries-old stone fortress that has withstood war, time, and something far more chilling, an eternal haunting. Built in 1771, Fort Mifflin is one of the only Revolutionary War battlefields still intact. But beneath its crumbling walls and within its shadow-filled tunnels, whispers echo from the past. Whispers not of victory, but of pain, imprisonment, and death. The fort saw its bloodiest days during the American Revolution, when cannon fire rained from British warships and hundreds of soldiers died screaming in agony, their limbs shattered and their cries swallowed by the smoke of war. Many were buried where they fell, their graves unmarked, their souls unrest. And it is said, they never left. Locals avoid the area after dark. Tour guides speak of strange occurrences, unexplained footsteps, flickering lights, and the overwhelming scent of gunpowder drifting through the air. But the most terrifying experiences come from those who dared to stay overnight. One such visitor was a historian named Daniel, who came to document Fort Mifflin's wartime architecture. He was skeptical of the ghost stories, brushing them off as folklore meant to spice up history books. But his first night inside the fort shattered his certainty. As dusk fell, Daniel set up camp near the infamous Casemate 11, a dark underground cell once used to hold prisoners of war and execute them. The thick stone walls of the cell had absorbed centuries of screams, and even in the light, the air within was suffocating. Locals called it the Black Hole. Daniel, unfazed, took notes and snapped photos, unaware of the presence stirring just behind the veil of his reality. Around midnight, the atmosphere shifted. The temperature plummeted. Daniel's breath turned to mist in front of him. The silence grew oppressive. No wind, no insects, just the sound of his own heartbeat thundering in his ears. Then, the whispers began. Soft at first, unintelligible. Then clearer. "Help me. They left me here. Don't go down there." The whispers came from everywhere and nowhere. Daniel stood frozen as a faint lantern light appeared at the far end of the tunnel, bobbing steadily. Thinking it was a reenactor or a prank, he moved toward it. But as he approached, the figure holding the lantern became clearer. A soldier in full Continental Army uniform, his face pale and bloodied, his eyes black pits of endless suffering. And then the soldier vanished. Daniel turned to run, but the tunnel behind him had changed. The exit was gone. The stone walls now pulsed with a sickly dampness, and the whispers grew into screams. Screams of men being burned, shot, suffocated. He stumbled back, only to hear the unmistakable sound of shackles dragging across the floor behind him. Something brushed against his leg. Looking down, he saw a hand, decayed, skeletal, reaching from the cracks in the floor. Another hand gripped his shoulder, ice-cold and firm. He screamed, breaking free, running deeper into the tunnels until he found a ladder and climbed up into the night. Gasping for air, Daniel burst into the open courtyard, where he found himself surrounded by ghostly apparitions. Soldiers with half-missing faces, nurses soaked in blood, and prisoners with broken limbs and hollow stares. They stared at him in silence, not attacking, just watching. He ran without looking back, vowing never to return. To this day, Fort Mifflin remains active, technically still a military installation, but its real inhabitants are no longer among the living. Visitors often report hearing cannon blasts from nowhere, phantom cries in the wind, and the heavy iron doors slamming shut on their own. Some say they've seen the Screaming Woman, a ghost said to be the tormented spirit of a woman executed for treason during the Civil War. Her cries echo through the halls at night, filled with rage and sorrow. Others tell tales of the headless soldier who wanders near the powder magazine, searching for the head lost to a British cannonball. He moves silently, his body swaying unnaturally as if pulled by invisible strings. But the most terrifying encounters come from deep underground, in Casemate 11. Those who dare to enter report hearing the dragging of chains, the rattle of keys, and, if you're unlucky, the soft sobbing of the last prisoner who died alone in the darkness, still begging for mercy that would never come. Fort Mifflin is not just a relic of history. It is a mausoleum of rage, grief, and unfinished stories. And if you listen closely on a quiet night, you might just hear the battle raging on from the other side.